Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be doing a deck profile on a much requested deck that I've been getting a lot of requests to do, Celestial post-Stride or post-Fighters collection, with the way they are now, meaning before set 4, where they're confirmed to get new cards. So if you've been watching the anime, you would have seen some of these new cards. But anyway, so right now they have 2 Stride units that are unique to the Angel Feather clan. Other than that, I made some tweaks to the deck, and we'll get into those right now. Also, I'm showing here, I have my updated Pale Moon deck. This one is actually very different from any Pale Moon deck that I built before, so if you're interested in either of these clans, and you want to see the Pale Moon deck, don't forget to subscribe so you'll know when that video comes out. But anyway, for today we're going to be doing the Celestial Stride without... Basically, it's just Celestials up to the point where they have Fighters Collection and none of the stuff that's coming out in the next set. So, for those that like to play Angel Feather and those that like to play the Celestial build, because there are quite a few builds out there that you can do, I might actually showcase a different non-Celestial build. The only thing is, with that one, there's no real reason to run Mikhail here, because Mikhail kind of works with Celestials. But she can still call something, even though you don't have a Celestial in the heart. But anyway, for the Stride, I'll do Stride decks first for this one. So 2 Holy Celestial Mikhail. You can run more than 2. I wouldn't recommend running... You don't really need more than 3, I would say. Honestly, these cards like this, I don't see the reason of having more than 2 copies, because the deck space for Stride units is very limited over time. So if you need to get these cards, just get 2 copies and it's good enough. That's the equivalent of having 4 of like the type of Stride unit that you counterblast and it flips up another copy of itself. So this one doesn't have to do that, so really 2 is enough. So basically what it does is, if you have a heart, it's counterblast 1 and it's an activate, so it's a main phase effect. Once per turn you can counterblast 1. If you have a heart with Celestial, you put the top card from your deck into your damage zone face up, choose a face up card from the damage zone, and you call it to art. Then if you have like the card that's in the heart also in the damage zone, you have a copy of that, then the card that you called gets plus 5k. So pretty decent Stride unit to help them. It's better than running Harmonix Messiah, I'll just put it at that. And then the other Stride unit they got, the double R, which works in any Angel Feather deck, is Holy Seraph Uriel. She was actually shown in the anime in one of the episodes, I forgot which one, but the girl with the purple hair used her against Tokoha. But anyway, what this one does is when the attack hits, so this is basically your first Stride. First Stride is usually the one that hits. Second Stride is usually once you have your board set up where you have your grade 3 on Vanguard Circle, and you have another copy of that grade 3 in the damage zone. So that's why. So typically it's going to be Uriel first Stride, Mikhail second Stride, and then third Stride would be either of them again, or Atmos or something. So Uriel, she's similar. When she hits, you can look at the 3 cards on the top of the deck, search for one, put it in the damage zone face up, then shuffle your deck. Then if you put a card in the damage zone that way, choose a face up grade 2 or less from the damage zone, call it to R, and it gets plus 2k. So only thing I don't like about this is it doesn't let you call... It has to be grade 2 or less, so you cannot call the random, like, if you have, like, for example, 2 grade 3s in the damage zone, and you'd have, like, nothing else but, like, a grade 0 or something, I would much rather call the grade 3 as just a random attacker. So that's the only downside of this card, but there's not a whole lot of grade 3s, and most of the time you're not going to put the grade 3, you don't want to pull the grade 3 out of the drop zone or the damage zone anyway. So 2 is enough. You can run 3, but honestly, with these cards from playtesting the deck, you won't really Stride these more than twice for each of them per game. So I would just run 2-2, because they are going to get newer stuff anyway later on in the next set, so might as well just get these while they're kind of cheap and you don't really need too many copies of them. Next, I am running 2 Element Madu, and you'll see why. Because of the grade 3 lineup, this deck is running the Legion, because the Legion Celestial is still one of the best, if not the best, Celestial that they have available right now. So 2 of this, basically Stride for free when you're in Legion. then the one Blizza and the one Atmos just for the late game push or early game. Early game forces them to no guard it and hope to hit a critical or something, and then Blizza is just like late game after you strode like one of these and two of these or any combination of that. So that's the strides for the deck itself. So people are probably surprised they see Ramiel here. So I am actually running 2 Prophecy Celestial Ramiel. Reason why I'm running her is because it's easy to tutor the other grade 3s into the damage zone with the way the deck is set up. Now with the new stride units, you're triple checking in your top check 3 cards and choose one, stuff like that. So 2 Celestial, or Ramiel, because she is good in the sense that what the Angel Feather clan does is it treats the damage zone as an extra hand. So it's like an extension of your actual hand. So it's like an extra little pool of resources that you have available that both you and the opponent has access to at all times. Like they can see what's in use and what's not. So the break rate itself gives you more access or more choice, more selections, or more opportunities to swap out cards from the damage zone. So that's why. And it also when you break ride Malkidal, the Legion on her, if you do that and then you Legion, it's kind of like it's a really scary break ride because that column becomes extremely powerful, assuming you have your damage zone set up correctly. So when I'm running 2 of her, just to reach that 9 grade 3 ratio. The other grade 3s consist of Zerakiel, mainly 3 Zerakiel, because you're either going to damage check one of them most of the time, so she'll be set up, or you can just tutor one into the damage zone and pull like a 10k shield out or something, so, or whatever you need. So 3 copies is enough in my opinion. Also, you don't want to ride Zerakiel first because the deck does not have a limit break enabler yet, so I did drop her down to 3 copies. But you do need 3 because you do want to be able to have the damage zone set up consistently enough to be able to use Mikhail. So that's why I wouldn't run less than 3 Zerakiel unless you're running a completely different build, then I just wouldn't run her at all. So 2 Ramiel, 3 Zerakiel, and then of course 4 Malkidal. So 4 of the Legion. She is just really good. In my opinion, Legion, it makes the deck faster. If you have to ride her first instead of Ramiel, then the deck doesn't fail. You can still just play your Stride and then Legion, or Legion and Stride and whatever, and the deck still functions properly. And like I said, this play right here, where you break ride on top of Ramiel, and then you do the shenanigans, swap stuff, and then Legion on top of that, this is attacking, swinging for like, I think, what, 41 or 51? Or 49 with boost or something like that. It's some ridiculously high number. I think it's like 50,000 in the center column. So 4 of her, 3 of this, 2 of that. That's 9 grade 3s. I recommend running for decks that do not have access to stride fodder units. And when I say stride fodder units, I'm talking about the grade 1 7k that you can discard for striding. Clans like this one don't actually have that card yet. So to help them keep pace with stride, what I have found is that 9 grade 3s works really well. So you have that extra grade 3 just for the stride fodder. So that's why I'm running the 9 grade 3. So Ramiel actually found a place in the deck because of that. If I was going to run a different lineup, I would probably run 4 Zerakiel and 1 Ramiel, but then it's kind of like, well, then I can't do the weird off chance where I have a Ramiel on Vanguard and a Ramiel in the damage zone that I can tutor for this, for whatever reason. But anyway, that's the lineup that I went with. I just wanted to see Ramiel plays again and how they work with the Legion. So break riding's still okay. It's just, if they had limit break enabler, the deck would just be a lot faster in my opinion. So that's why I'm running 4 Legion. For grade 2, obviously 4 Legion Mate. You have to run 4 Legion Mate, not only because she's a Legion Mate, but because she has a really good skill to allow you to get an extra attack that turns you can poke at a rear guard. So 4 Osmodal, 3 Sariel. I see a lot of people running 2 Sariel, and that's, in my opinion, that's like the minimum number. In my opinion, I treat Sariel as a Tartu or a Maka, or, you know, the type of card that basically it's like a main tech card to give the deck an edge or make the deck do what it's supposed to do. So in her case, you're gonna either drop one of these, you tutor one of these from her effect into the damage zone, take something you're not going to use out, or you tutor Zerakiel, so you have your 9k boost. So typically, these are the two cards you're going to tutor out of the deck for her. So 3 copies. But yeah, cards like this, in my opinion, you need to run like 3 copies of it. You can run 4, but there's still, the grade 2 is probably the hardest selection. So, and she's an 8k, so that's why I don't like running more than 3. But definitely 3 to set up properly, just to make sure you'll be able to do the stride effects correctly. So, next to Rugwell, she's this 12k celestial attacker, pretty standard. You can run more if you want, but I'm sticking with 2 Danielle and 2 Rugwell. So 2 of each, because this is just the main poke engine and the stronger column, and then this is just a very good tech choice because it's celestial build, so you might as well run her because she basically can superior call for free when you take a damage. So she gives you that extra intercept if you're up against someone like Kagura or someone who keeps disrupting your field like your Chronicle. You can bring her up on the field and help protect. Or if they're not going to attack her, then whatever, then she'll be one of the fighters with a 7k or a 9k behind her. So pretty decent tech choice in my opinion. I think this is a pretty good lineup for grade 2s. For grade 1, obviously 4 of the Celestial Perfect Guard. You gotta run 4 of the Celestial one just to get the consistent plays with your Celestial cards and stuff like that. Speaking of consistent plays, 4 Nursing Celestial Nariel. So mainly because like she will take a Celestial from the hand when she's placed on R, put it in the damage zone, then take anything from the damage zone. So technically I guess you don't really need these, but like I said, the main card that really requires you to run your Aniel instead of the original Perfect Guard is Zerakiel, because she's a special counterblast. Even though you almost never use that effect, it's kind of a clutch play, so you kind of want the deck to be as consistent as possible. So that's why we're running this one. And then 2 Abraki. This is the 10k Celestial Grade 1. 3 Hesidial. You only really need 3 because she's kind of just a dead 6k boost, or 6k that doesn't really do anything until you get Zerakiel in the damage zone. But the main reason why I stuck with Zerakiel was because of this card. So if you don't run Zerakiel, there's no reason to run this. Then you would run like No Seal Angels or something like that, or more of these. So that's grade 1. So 4 Perfect Guard, 4 of this card because this is super important. And then these are just like the boost, and attackers are just regular boosters. So that's grade 1s, 13 grade 1s, and 9 grade 3s. I think that's the way to go for decks that don't have stride fodder. For triggers, 4 Celestial Draws, 4 Celestial Criticals, and here's what changed from my previous deck. So I am actually running the Critical Hit Angel, so 8 critical, 4 draw, mainly because I want the deck to, because of stride, oftentimes what I have found is that when you stride, especially the first stride, the opponent will just let it hit. So this will hit and her effect will go off. So when you are striding and you do that early attack where they're not guarding, the opportunity to hit double critical is just so much better when you have 8 instead of just 4. And your board, in early game, your board may not be set up that well compared to late game. So that's why I'm not running the stands anymore. So this is the only non-celestial. So it kind of goes against my philosophy on building decks because it does hurt the consistency slightly. But since the Legion doesn't care and Ramiel doesn't really care either, really it's only Zerakiel. I just want the deck to be able to crit the opponent earlier than it normally would. And I mean, yeah, you can still run the stands if you want to run the Celestial stands. Because of the Legion, you can just throw the criticals that you guard with early back into the deck. But I don't know. I just wanted to go with criticals this time around. And then 4 Celestial Heals. And the starter is still First Aid Celestial Panel. I still think this is the best one for Celestials just because it just gives you another easy setup for the board. what I mean when I say board, I'm talking about the damage zone. And then it pulls something. So basically, you just kind of use this on like turn 2 or 3. You don't want it to stay too long on the field, especially if you're up against somebody that will retire it or lock it or send it back to the deck. You know, like if it's Gear Chronicle. So that's why I chose this start. It doesn't use any counterblast. It has a pretty decent effect, and I still think it's one of the best starters for Celestials, if not the best that we currently have. So that was my Celestial deck. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was kind of long, but I wanted to explain the choices, and I kind of think like right now this is probably one of the best lineups that Angel Feathers in general can do. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.